Welcome back to Romantasy Chaos HQ, the podcast where Avery and Xavier Harleston, healthcare professionals by day, romantasy theorists, and aspiring authors by night. Today we have a special bonus episode for Love is Thou Wilt Week. But first, this is your warning. We're not rated E for everyone. We will be discussing adult topics with adult language on today's episode, where we are being joined by our special guest, author Heather Nix. Heather, can you tell us about yourself?
My name is obviously Heather Nix. I write sapphic fiction in all genres, and I live in sunny San Diego, where it is currently not very sunny.
That's a bummer, but San Diego, I'm definitely...
Most days better than here.
Yeah. Probably you did not have a hard frost last week.
I don't know what that means.
We're in the middle of Pennsylvania, and maybe hopefully my outside plants aren't going to die now. So, but in keeping with our normal episodes are usually very short. So in keeping with our time constrained approach for our normal episodes, we want to do a very quick rapid fire get to know you game of Would You Rather. So we're going to put 60 seconds on the timer. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, would you rather
And go.
write a virgin or first time spicy scene, or write a spicy scene where things go wrong?
Things go wrong.
One bed or found family?
One bed.
Cookie Monster or Oscar the Grouch?
Cookie Monster.
Witches or gargoyles?
Gargoyle witches.
Gods or monsters?
Monsters.
Cozy or epic?
Cozy.
Standalone or series?
Standalone.
Black cat or golden retriever?
Black cat every time.
Nick, Schmidt, or Winston?
I don't know what that means.
Okay, age gap or grumpy sunshine?
Age gap.
Oh my gosh, we have time left and we got through all of them. So now I just don't know what we're supposed to do. I guess we got to know you now. You were like very decisive and you knew all of them. So we'll be better prepared next time. We got to make a longer list just in case.
We've gotten through 2 before.
Yeah. Well, can we would really love to hear about your writing journey, how you got started, and in particular, how you ended up writing sapphic romance. It is, we've purposely been looking for, over the past 12 months, looking for sapphic romance, particularly in the speculative fiction genre, and it's just not as available. There's just not as much of it. So how did you get started and end up in this area?
Well, my first book is a failed D&D campaign that I just simply could not let go. I did a ton of work on it. I wrote a whole backstory. I did a whole world building thing. I was like ready, and then it didn't happen. And I was like, no, can't let it be in nothing. So I was like, maybe I'll just like turn it into a book. And then like 6 months later, I had a almost 400-page book, and I was like, oh, I could just like do that. Also, I don't talk about this a ton, but I feel like this is a good opportunity to do so. Writing that book was a big part of me coming out. And so I identified as bisexual for 20 something years. And in the midst of writing that book, I wrote a scene where she realizes she's gay. And I was like, oh, this is just my life. Shit. So I, at that point, realized that I didn't want to write anything that wasn't sapphic. And I was like, I can write whatever I want. I can write every genre in the world. As long as I don't have men in the romance, I'll be happy. And so that's kind of just what I did. I found the same thing. Like, I wanted to read like epic romantasy that was sapphic, and I was like, there's one book. Cool.
Right.
Like, I want to read like sapphic dark romance, and I was like, there's 4 books. Cool. So I decided just to write them.
Well, kind of that, well, if no one else is, I'm going to.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so like, when did you start writing?
I mean, my mom recently found a book that I wrote in high school that was like, I don't know, 75 pages long. But one of the first things in my like childhood like photo albums is a book I wrote about, this is gonna date me, Clifford the Big Red Dog, the original
I love
Clifford.
Yes.
When I was like 4. So I have been writing for enjoyment literally my entire life. I got serious and decided to publish in 2021.
Was that like something related? I know a lot of people during the pandemic kind of started exploring new interests or returning to prior interests. Was it related to kind of having this other experience of life that we had during that time, or was it just like that, just the stars just aligned at that moment?
I think the stars just aligned at that moment. I got back into reading. I moved to Washington State, which I loved, for the record. I'm not a Californian that does not like cold and gray and rain. I hate the sun. I had lots of opportunities to like drink hot chocolate and like read books. And so I got really back into reading. And a good friend of mine who's now also a successful published author, who also had never written anything, was like, I think I'm going to write a book. And when she started, I was like, if you can do it, I can do it. And then I did.
What? Like it's hard?
Yeah.
So you said you got back into reading. So did you read a lot as a kid?
Yes.
What kind of books did you read? And do you think that they influenced you as a writer?
I read everything. I was a hyperlexic child, so I started reading before I was 3. And I read everything under the sun. I was reading The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty in like 6th grade, which definitely had some sort of impact on me. But I was really into the Redwall books, and when I realized, I was like, oh, there's a genre of this where like people have sex. This is great. This is my life now. This is all I'm gonna do. So I got really into Romantasy, which is still one of my favorite genres.
Because you really have written in several different genres. I think right now you have the sapphic high fantasy. You have some like cozy monster. I guess monster-ish romance, and you have dark romance that comes from a mythology basis. So what would you say that's your favorite genre to write, or is it really like matching the genre to the story that you want to tell? Or
I'm actually also, I have not announced this anywhere, so here you get first magic announcement. I'm actually also working on a contemporary. I come up with characters and I like joke that I don't know them and they just like show up in my head. And every book I've ever written came either from a title or a character. And if I come up with like a witty title, I'm like, oh, I gotta write that book. So
not us saying the exact same thing.
That's my entire contemporary series that I have planned out, is because I came up with a funny title for a book when I was taking a shower. And I was like, I have to write this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more just I have a story and I'm like, I'm gonna write it. And then I realize halfway through, like, oh, this is a dark romance. Or like, oh, this is a weird gargoyle Jewish story. Okay. So I kind of I joke that all my books are sapphic, and that's the only thing that makes them united in any way.
Yeah. I mean, I love the freedom that your approach brings. You know, I will like plot a book in a day, because like I wake up and then we have the plot, and then she's like, you don't have any characters.
She's just like, someone's gonna do this and then someone's gonna do that, and I'm like, okay, but those someones are someone. Let's think about who those someones are.
I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, I have absolutely no plot. I don't know what happens in this book. I just know that these people are going to do it. So all of my stuff is basically character driven.
I was 3 days ago. I'd have to check. 3 days ago, I was like, you know what? I just have this idea about this book, and it was just a title. And I'm like, how would you even make that work? Like, what would tell the story that warrants that title? And then he came up with a bit of a plot, and I was like, oh, and I know who this is. I know who's doing that. So that's it. It's so fun. We have like a long list. I know you said you're working on a contemporary, but do you have like your list of ideas that are like,
I have, let's see, 6, 7, I have at least 9 planned books in a list in my phone.
Nice. So no plans to, no writer's block there. No plans to stop.
Oh, I have plenty of writer's block, but it actually only comes into play when I'm actually physically writing. I can come up with ideas all day, all night. Like, I can pitch you 40 books right now, but then I'm like, oh, I have to make sentences. Shit.
Yeah, I respect anyone that writes alone so much, because like we have each other to like get past blocks with and lean into each other's strengths. So like I can put a plot together on a book that is somewhere between a really dense outline and a book really fast. And then she can come back behind and ask me all the questions and make the characters. So to do it all by yourself is so impressive.
Honestly,
for all the authors out there, doing it all by yourself is so impressive.
My like primary income job, I guess you could say, is I edit. And so one of the authors that I edit for, like probably my primary client, who's a very, very successful author, we have like talk sessions where she'll be like, okay, I need to like figure out this plot. I need you to FaceTime me right now. And for the next like 4.5 hours, we figure out all of her plot. And from time to time, she does the same for me. So we still do have like people to bounce stuff off of, but it's definitely much less, I think, than co-writing would be.
Yes. On the other hand, it's probably not being woken up at 3 a.m. Oh, are you awake now? Okay, because I have to tell you something. No, I wasn't actually awake, but I guess I am now.
I see you and I raise you a phone note that I recorded at like 2:45 in the morning that sounds like a fever dream, where I plotted out an entire like probably 45-minute long voice note plotting out a horror book that I had a dream about.
I am sorry that happened to you. But no, like that's amazing, because like, you know, if you had fallen back asleep, you probably would have forgotten all of it.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense, so who knows? It doesn't go anywhere, but
so one thing I just finished reading, Mixing Up Mayhem, which is probably kind of close to a contemporary rom-com with, I don't want to say monsters, but a demon. I mean, I don't think it's a secret that it's a demon. You learn that pretty much as soon as you're introduced to this other character, which, by the way, for this book, because it's a demon, you had to, you created, you know, primarily it's set in Seattle, but you also created hell. And your version of hell, because I don't think this is too much of a spoiler,
is hell. It is hell.
100%. It is definitely hell if you are an extrovert. I would definitely say, like, the eternal damnation is basically not being able to talk and having to do a job that you don't like or find like tedious or monotonous, or is like the exact opposite of what you'd want to be doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, as soon as I got to that part where I was explaining it, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I didn't know that Heather was extroverted, because we've met you, but if I didn't know, I would know now.
So weirdly enough, I am a really good temporary extrovert. In reality, I am like wildly introverted. But when it comes to like events and like book related things, I'm really good at like putting it on. And when I come home, I have to like sit in my dark bathroom for like 5 to 7 business days.
Yes.
But the idea that you could not complain was a big part of my idea of hell. Is like, I only survive by bitching to my friends, and without that, I would be a very miserable person.
That definitely makes sense. I see it. I see it now. I'm glad you told me that. But I was just like, yeah, especially if I was doing it, if nobody could talk to me, that's what it went to. Oh, nobody can talk, so nobody can talk to me? All right.
Oh, see, that would be my, actually. I would like heaven to be a silent place where I can complain, but nobody can say anything to me unprovoked.
We got back from a Polycon and I was like, let's write books. And she's like, let's hide.
I was like, actually, you go anywhere you want and write books, and I'm going to stay here alone by myself.
Yep.
Please. Yeah, the kind of crash afterwards, totally relate to that. But that book is also set in Seattle, and the like, I haven't been to Seattle recently, but I've been to Seattle enough to know that it's a very, very accepting kind of like a baseline, and then as you've written it, you have written a very queer normative world where there is a lot of diverse representation, and interwoven into that, because I think these things are intricately linked, other issues of social justice. So talk a little bit about that and kind of creating this world where it maybe is a little more, even more progressive than what Seattle or anywhere really might actually be.
I live in San Diego, which is more red than people think, but is still like politically a very blue area. And I did live in Seattle. After the election, we scrapped our plans to move to a more red area, because I do have children, and I was like, I'm not going to bring them somewhere where I feel like they're going to lose rights. So for the most part, all of my books are set in places where I feel like I would live. Even in my debut, where the villain is essentially Catholicism and intolerance, I still wanted to make a fairly queer normative world, mainly because I just don't mind writing single instances of homophobia, but I just have no interest, just as I have no interest in writing men, I have no interest in writing a place in which I have to spend significant page time apologizing for people's identities. I think I have a non-binary character in every book that I've written too. Gender and sexuality are just such silly things, in my opinion, for people to be upset about, that I'm like, there are bigger issues that we can talk about. Y'all need to get over this. So that's pretty much it.
Well, it's very refreshing to read that. And also your books are featuring older, I don't want to say even like middle age, just older than like the typical like new adult, teenager or 22-year-old, which was also very refreshing to like people who have actual like real experience in life and have, been through things and have learned some lessons and still have lessons to learn, because that's how life is. That was really, I really enjoyed that aspect. Is that something that you talk a little bit about that, I guess?
I am not young. And so I have met 22-year-olds, and I would rather write about a pack of Starburst. I have no interest. I don't know what their world is. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how their brains work anymore. I have forgotten. It was a long time ago. So I write things that are adjacent to my own lived experiences. And same thing with sapphic books. Like, there's just not, in my opinion, enough books in which women in their mid to late 30s like get to be the hero.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are, they're always the like sacrificing mother trope, and it's just tired, and I'm like, I just want to write like weird smut where like 35-year-old women get railed. Like,
yeah. It's working. I definitely think you should keep it up. It's working. But kind of talking just more broadly about the representation of sapphic love. Again, there's not, across like media as a whole, there's not a lot of representation. But one of the stories that is, kind of hot right now and in the zeitgeist is the upcoming season of Bridgerton, where, if I don't think this is a spoiler, but the female character falls in love with another female character who happens to be the cousin of her deceased husband. And this is a change from what the book is, but which was a male-female pairing. But this comes on the heels of a season where the main character ended up in a male-female relationship, but had previously been, over several seasons, depicted as bisexual. And it's happening at the same time as things like heated rivalry are really blowing up. So when you're thinking kind of about all of this, where it seems like there's a lot more normalization of bisexuality and even like heated rivalry and men loving men seems to be much more predominant and accepted. What are your thoughts about that? How does that influence you in your storytelling?
I have many thoughts. I will keep some of them to myself because I like being on the internet. But I know the vast majority of romance readers are women, and a lot of those women are straight women, and they do not typically seek out sapphic media as much as they seek out like media. Which on one hand I understand, like, if you're attracted to men, like, more better. But on the other hand, it frustrates me because I'm like, don't you want to like read a book where you come every time? Because like, I want to read a book where I come every time. So while I am stoked about the Bridgerton development, it's also been kind of disheartening because of the just wild pushback that I have seen online, especially like at the same time as heated rivalry is like everywhere. It's like, oh, cool, like, you like gay folks, but just like not my kind. Got it.
Right. Yeah.
But I hope that's part of also why I write in a bunch of different genres is I am gonna wedge myself in every door that I can. Because in all of those places, like every single event I do, and I do too many of them, there's always people that come up, and I have a neon sign that says sapphic, like a literal neon sign. And I always have people that come up and they're like, I saw your sign. I've been looking for sapphic. And we might be the minority in this situation, but the readers, I feel like, are there. They just need more to read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they, need to see it like, well done, and done in, I guess would still be the female gaze, but historically, as a guy growing up through the 80s and 90s, if there was a sapphic relationship, it was for the guy's entertainment, not because it was like good for the women. Like, and I'm kind of hoping that Bridgerton's season is kind of like broke back for sapphic, and it begins to like break it open so that it can go forward. Because we have 4 daughters, so this is a little bit of ambiguity. But one of our daughters is writing a book, and it's sapphic, and she's looking all over the place for sapphic. So, so thank you for writing it, because we got to point to you and be like, yes, that is a thing. People do write that. You can continue.
Yeah. And you gave us a great list of recommendations because she is, a teenager and not quite ready for a more adult media. But you gave us a great list of recommendations, which she has torn through, by the way. So we're back to needing more recommendations.
I have a lot more when she is ready for adult media.
One of the other things that I think is really interesting, so the women in your books are women. They're women. The way women everywhere are women. And I think it's interesting with what they're doing with Bridgerton, where you have two women who are they have been portrayed as very, very soft, very feminine. Even if one is maybe more boisterous and outgoing, they're still very in a very you would know they were Regency ladies, even if you didn't know they were Regency ladies. And there's been a lot of commentary that I've seen that, oh, well, I'm not opposed to sapphic. It's just that would have been a better role for other female characters that are not quite so soft, I guess, so feminine, so quiet or reserved. Characters that are cast more as man haters or rebellious or whatever. And that's to me, probably one of the most concerning things that I've seen in this commentary, because, there's no single right way to be a woman, first of all. And certainly there's no single right way to be a woman who's in love with another woman. And the stereotyping that goes into that is so, we talk about it at the dinner table, because it's really important to call it out when you see it. But the women that you write, they can be soft. They can be, they're women. They're just women that are, you're not going to put them in a box of a certain way, and they're all different. So can you talk a little bit about that and kind of this idea that I think a lot of people have about sapphic relationships or sapphic media, that it should be some sort of way?
I think it's funny, on two very diametrically opposed fronts, because on one hand, for a really long time, all of the sapphic literature that we had was very historical and very much they were roommates. And a lot of the historical lesbian figures that we have that, have actually across time and people using their eyeballs come out as being lesbian couples, they are all very prim and proper people in a lot of times. There is always going to be, the Georgia O'Keeffe, no, I wear pants, forget you. But there are also historical, soft, feminine, quiet lesbians. But what we have been fed in the media as the standard caricature of lesbian is a very specific type of lesbian. And so I think people are conditioned by media to expect what they expect. And yeah. Not to date myself, but I distinctly remember as a kid watching TV and watching the episode where Ellen came out, mm-hmm. and being well, yeah, duh. But also that doesn't look like me. And I don't know how to feel about that. That was a big part of why it took me a long time to come out, is, I did grow up in the early 90s, and there was a very specific type of lesbian. And if you didn't get into that type, you were invisible. And so for the longest time I was well, I like to be in dresses and have my nails and makeup done, and I don't want to cut my hair, and so I guess I'm not gay. So for me, I really like exploring all the different identities and expressions in the lesbian community. I write by women too. I like women, so sure that I can write a broad, interesting group of them is really important to me. And a lot of people that I know have kind of bled into my work. So I'll, you know, be writing something and halfway through be like, oh, that's my friend. Okay, this makes so much more sense now. So I think it's just, I really find it really important to show a diverse group of women who love women, because we don't get it in media.
Yeah, we don't. And it's needed. Like I also remember watching sneaking it, because in my household that was not allowed, which says a lot about how I grew up, I think. But feeling like on the one hand it was such a momentous thing to happen, and at the same time it was still like, and you get to be in this little box.
Yep.
And so the idea that actually women in general, and certainly women who love women, like, you can't put them in a box, because there is no box for that. It's just the way life. It's just life. It's just I really, with 4 daughters, several of whom are still exploring their sexuality, and you know, like, I want them to know, like, there are so many right ways of being who you are. Like, you get to pick who you are, and any way that feels right to you is the right way. You don't have to be in a box. And so I'm so appreciative of people who bring that representation into media.
I read, right when I, like, kind of went through my big, like, oh my God, I'm gay moment, I read a book that kind of deep dived into, like, lesbian cultural identities, and for me it was, like, very necessary to, like, my own self-discovery, is recognizing that there are spaces in which women who are like me are welcomed, and historically have been welcomed. So that is something that I think, even though I do it in a, like, much more fun, much less, like, highbrow way, I do find it really important to explore, like, cultural dynamics within the lesbian community in my books.
Yeah.
And I really do think that growing up in the 90s, you know, like, left the mark of, like, what it was a definition of. One of my really good friends is a lesbian that came out late, was married, and has a daughter, and is now very happily married to a woman. And when I met her, like, never even thought of the possibility that she might be a lesbian, because she was super girly, like super girly, and was kind of caught off guard when I found out, because, again, this whole concept of, you know, what you saw in the media in the 80s and 90s is, you know, what you got kind of, like, stuck in your head as a stereotype, right? And you know, we're working hard with our daughters to, and our son, actually, maybe even harder with our son, to to not let him stereotype, because, wow, social media and boys right now, very, very hard to, like, get them to, like, think.
Sorry, continue.
Oh no, go ahead.
Nope, I lost it. I'll come back.
Absolutely. Well,
yes, we have questions. I think this is actually
this is your question.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned on a panel at Polycon that, like, you previously worked on the production side of porn, and
not a performer.
No.
And, you know, anyone who reads romance novels and really romantasy, you know, we get a lot of, you know, fairy smut is just porn for women, you know, and, you know, what are your thoughts on that? And, you know, is any of it accurate? How do you see it's different? You know, really interested in, you know, like, somebody that has a much deeper perspective than
on the industry,
on the industry than we do.
I have multiple thoughts on that, and they might seem contradictory. My first one is, even if it is just porn for women, who fucking cares? Because the porn industry has always been for men, like, always, even stuff that is for women, all for men. So even if Romantasy was just porn for women, good. Women deserve porn. Like, who fucking cares? But also, I think the people that make that claim typically don't actually read the genre. Because within that porn for women, there is erotica that is marketed as other things, and I've read it and been like, this is just erotica, which I'm fine with, but like I can understand how somebody might be annoyed. But there is also just like fantastic storytelling, and having sex in books for me enhances the story because people have sex. Like I see online a lot that people are like, oh, there was just so much smut, it just ruined the story for me. And I'm like, your life sounds so boring, because I personally, I have a wonderful, multifaceted, like developed life, and I also have a lot of sex. So I think that the opinion that sex cheapens stories or somehow acts negatively toward them, I think that that is just a very sad self-tattle in which you are saying that your life is boring.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we've spent a year and a half digging into one series of Romantasy, so clearly there's a lot of storytelling that goes on in the genre, and I got really back into reading because of Romantasy, but I don't understand men that are like, I don't want to read it, or there's too much sex in it. I'm like, if your partner read it, regardless of who your partner is, like if your partner read it and it is the same type of couple or relationship that you're in, don't you want to ask them like what they liked about it and how like your sex life can be better? Like, not using Romantasy and romance as some sort of like conversation topic and or instruction manual is just stupid.
I think, like, and this is my, you mentioned being a man hater earlier. I will proudly put the man hater shroud on for a moment. I'm so sorry. But I think it is hilarious to me that you would choose to criticize something that could so easily help you. And it's a, and this is not a you, this is the general you. I feel like when you see trends in women-focused media, that should tell you something about women. Like, if there are 1,000 books that all have this same trope, maybe that trope is something that women want. And I write this, like, there are scenes that I find that I have accidentally written into every book that I write. And it's because that's something that is important to me. And I think that not using the opportunity to see what women actually want and value and crave in romance is just a very silly, it's no different than being like, oh my gosh, you can't have that toy, it's too big, it makes me feel little. It's just stupid. Like, just let your partner be happy and support whatever is going to make her want to keep you around.
I don't understand not figuring out the pleasure side of things, but also reading, you know, from the female gaze and the female perspective, I think is incredibly important for men, to the point that our son reads Romantasy because we put it in front of him, and I know his friends are showing him things on the internet, so I do not care that he is reading smut in books. Yep. Because like smut in books, that's like, treat a woman well, make her happy, there's emotion involved, don't be an asshole. I'm all here for it, because I know he's gonna go watch the porn stuff.
Yeah, and we're in like the Andrew Tate time period where like men have this just absolutely horrific media influence right now that it just, I have a son as well, and I am just perpetually terrified of what media will do to him when he does get unfettered access to it. He is still young, so I'm like, I'm still in control. But I find it very scary what boys have at their fingertips right now, but also like mildly reassuring that there is a bigger push in media for women's lit to be forefront. Like, Heated Rivalry taking off was simultaneously very exciting and very disappointing, but very exciting because it did show, it was a whole show and book series like focused on men's emotion, which I've read some of the like boy books and I'm so bored. I'm like, nobody has emotions, nobody loves each other, everybody's just like swinging swords around. Like, this is definitely like a stand-in for a wiener, and I have no interest in reading it. I tried to read, there's like a major like author that every man in the world is like, this is my favorite author, and I tried to read one of those books and I was like, I would rather read the back of a cereal box. This is the single most boring thing I have ever read in my entire life.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I don't read those.
No, you don't. No. So
They're also not pretty books.
no.
They're not. They have the weirdest, like, at what point in the 80s did like men's authors become incapable of developing in cover design? Because I swear, like, every like men's book, I'm like, I saw this at Borders in like 1992. Like, let's get better.
Where are the sprayed edges? Where are the foiled edges? Where's the interior cover art, end papers and cover art and reversible dust jacket?
And why are that woman's boobs that shape? That's not a human. Who designed this?
We went to C2E2, which was awesome. For the record, like so the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, it was awesome. And they did have a book section there with a number of authors that we got to talk to, which was very cool. But there was there were like 500 artists. And like so many of them were like incredible, and then you'd like walk down this aisle and you're like, okay, oh yeah, that's a white 55-year-old man.
Yep. And I know exactly what they draw. No explanation needed. I know exactly what they draw. I go to San Diego Comic-Con every year as a volunteer, and my favorite part of my day is taking a break and going to Artist Alley, because there's some artists that like only sell art at cons. Like, there's an artist named Patrick Ballesteros whose art I love. It's the cutest thing in the world. It's so cute, but he only sells stuff at cons, and so going to events and being able to like get stuff in person is like the only way you can get it. But man, I see some stuff that I'm like, yes, I remember heavy metal. I'm so glad that you're continuing the tradition.
Yeah, no, I got an email about a book, and we were watching a TV show, and I made her hit pause so that I could stare at the book.
Yes. Actually, let me reenact it for you. We're watching a show. I was watching a show. He was obviously watching his phone, and he goes, I was like, what? What happened? He's like, you have to see this. Pause the show. It was very dramatic. I thought for sure something terrible had happened. No, it was something wonderful. And then he's immediately like, how many should we order?
She's like, we only need one.
Why do we need what? Why we actually own like 4 copies of this book already? Why do we need more than one?
I had at a Polycon, actually, I had a very similar experience. My best friend and I roomed together for any con that we are at together. And there is an author who writes Omegaverse that was my favorite Omegaverse of all time. And she did a Kickstarter for the first book in the series a while back. They just came out, and they're like the most beautiful books I've ever seen. And we were laying in bed watching The Fifth Element, and I got the email that she's doing the Kickstarter for my favorite book in the series, and I screeched like a demon. And her husband jumped up off the bed. It was like, what? And I was like, Amber!
So, speaking of pretty books, we picked this up at a Polycon, and it's beautiful. The sprayed edges, we just like love it. In this, which you were also kind enough to sign for us, is going to be one of our Summer of Book Mail Chaos random book drops. So someone is going to get this in the mail. But I will say also your books are, I think many of them are on Kindle Unlimited.
All of them are, except for my Monsterotica exclusive. And then the first contemporary that I'm going to release is also going to be an event exclusive. I might end up making
Ooh.
it for like newsletter subscribers, but as of now, the current plan is for it to be an event exclusive. But it is sort of an introduction to a world that I'm planning to write a series in.
Yay, that sounds so fun. I'm very excited actually for your contemporaries. I think that's I think it's going to be really fun to see the world that you create and the stories you tell.
I didn't think I was going to like writing it, and I did it because it's for an event that I feel wildly out of place at. But then I started writing it, and my assistant, who you met at a Polycon, with the purple hair, she was like, send me the chapters you have, because I was like, I feel like this is so boring. Like, normal people are so boring. Like, how do I make it interesting when there's no like magic? And I sent it to her, and she's like, I don't know why you thought this was boring. This is fantastic. And I was like, I don't know. I'm just bored by normal people.
Well, I totally understand that. Yeah. Real life is kind of boring. Unfortunately, it's exciting in all the worst ways sometimes.
Absolutely.
So if there is, kind of thinking across your books, if there is something that you want readers to take with them when they read your stories, or a theme that you hope stands out to them, what would that be for you?
I don't know if there's necessarily a theme. I think for me, it's just that every type of woman in the world exists in the gay community, and the variation of lives and stories within that is endless. And I can write you can give me any topic in the world, and I can somehow write a sapphic book about it, which I intend to do.
Like random book theme generator. Like, yeah. I'm just imagining like words on the bingo balls, and it pulls out, you know.
I actually need like that. I think that would be really helpful to me.
So if can you just give us a little, if someone wants to get started reading your books, can you just give us a little introduction to what you have available? I know you have some series and some standalones. So can you walk us through that?
People at events always ask me, like, where should I start? And I always have to ask, like, well, what do you read? Because I have, my 3 series are wildly different. I have my high fantasy, which I don't market it as romantasy, because I think in romantasy, the romance needs to be the focus. And this one definitely is more world focused. It's character driven, but it's not just a romance book. So if you liked, you know, Throne of Glass, like, you might like my Romantasy series. It's a duology, so it's not a big sweeping series. My other 2 series are both standalones, and they're not interconnected, but they are kind of the same type of book. So I have my dark romances, which are very loose Greek mythology retellings, and then I have my monster romances, which are contemporary, cozy-ish, and they're women in male-dominated career fields who fall in love with monsters. So if you want something that makes you feel good and happy, then I'd say my monsters. If you want something where people are really mad at men, I would say my dark romance. And if you want something that'll make you cry a lot, I would say my high fantasy.
That's such a, I will say, this book is the duology, or high fantasy duology. So someone will be getting this and crying, I guess.
Luckily, though, because that's the omnibus, so it has both of the books in it.
Yes, they're getting the complete duology. The
first book ends on a very rough cliffhanger, and I didn't release the second book for another 1.5 years, so I felt really bad for
villain. That's your villain era.
I was like, I'm so sorry. My bad.
So what we're kind of wrapping up here. What do you wish that we had asked you? Is there a question that you wish we had asked, or something that you wish we had talked about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm like the best analyst podcast guest because I'm like, yeah, everything's fine.
So, can you tell us what's next for you? What stories are you eager to tell? And I know you said that you have a contemporary romance, but
I have a contemporary romance coming. I'm probably going to query the contemporary, so it might not be immediately available because I'm probably going to put some time in trying to get it picked up. But I do have an Omegaverse coming out in the fall. And then I have plans for the next one in the Monster series. I don't yet have a plan for the next one in the Dark Romance series. But I also have some really fun standalone plans that I think I'm going to play with that are contemporary, but like with a twist. I have a mortuary rom-com that I want to write.
Oh my gosh, I like legitimately know someone who's wants that. Like literally, she loves all things mortuary. Like
I was really into 6 Feet Under. And I was like, wow, if you can take this story and make it into a drama that makes me like cry until I feel sick, I feel like you can also take it and make it something really fun. Like Bryn Weaver is a very good blueprint for how to take dark things and make them absolutely hilarious. And I want to do something similar but without all the blood and gore.
there you go. I love that. And you have been very busy. You've been to several cons already this year. So where can readers find you?
Next month, I will be at City Fling in Austin. In September, I will be at Books, Gowns, and Crowns in San Diego. In October, I will be at Book Harvest in Chicago. In November, I will be at Nest Fest in Baltimore. And next year, I will be at Queers and Quills in Portland.
Wow, busy, busy, busy. And where can they find you on social media, on the great big internet?
I am most active on Instagram. I abandoned TikTok after the first like TikTok ban, and I have not been back. I know it still exists because my child watches color mixing videos, but I'm definitely more active on Instagram. If you want to hear me shitpost and just be ridiculous, I'm also very active on Threads, but that is not a business profile.
Yeah.
That is me.
You cook on Threads.
Threads is where I go because I'm like, I know I can just say off the wall shit and people will pop in to be like, yeah. And all my books are on Kindle Unlimited. I do have a couple titles on Audible as well, and I'm working on getting more on Audible.
Well, that's awesome.
Well, thank you for entertaining Avery on Threads.
Yeah.
Girl loves Threads.
I like to read Threads.
I was on there the other day. I don't know if you saw, but I was like, it was probably 11:30 at night, and I was like, I need to start some shit. And I was like, Anna is the villain of Frozen.
Yes. I had to comment on that one because I'm like, the real villain is the patriarchy. It's always the patriarchy.
It is. But it's also Anna.
She's not great. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. And that, I think, is going to be it from us. And we're so excited. This was so fun. And for everyone listening, drop us a comment. Let us know which book you're going to read first. Where are you looking for dark romance? Are you looking for epic fantasy? Are you looking for
with tears?
Yeah. Are you looking to cry? Are you looking to laugh? Or are you looking to be happy? And remember, everyone, we love you. Stay out of the clouds, off the ice, and come back to us. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.